Jalen Hurts only has haters or superfans, nothing in between. And I think you should be neutral. I think we should be neutral with Jalen Hurts. I'm a realist. I try to stay neutral with my opinion, and I try to spit only facts about Jalen Hurts. I try to stay in the middle, support him when the support is deserving, but also I'll critique him when there are things to critique. The media will blow over these past two performances because he played bad teams. I'm not going to do that. I'm giving him credit. He has balled out these last 2 weeks, and he's thrown the ball really well. But it's also the Commanders and the Raiders. So we're not going to blow it out of proportion, but we're going to give him credit here. Hurts has some admirable qualities. He's not an emotionally driven quarterback. He remains steady regardless of the situation, and we all know the kind of player he is in the clutch, in the playoffs, in the big moments. So yes, Jalen Hurts has some admirable qualities. Absolutely. I also see some drawbacks in his game. I don't think his arm is up to the caliber of the elites. I don't think he has an A-tier arm. And that's okay. Philly fans take it as hate when I say Jalen Hurts isn't a top 3 QB or he doesn't necessarily have an elite arm. I'm just assessing the quarterback that I see. This is not hate-driven. I'm being realistic. He's played 2 phenomenal games, but before that, it didn't look too good. And it hasn't really looked all that consistent and all that great all year long. The offense has been in a huge slump, I would say, for the majority of the year. So what drives me crazy about these Philly fans is they'll come out after games like this and say Jalen Hurts is generational. Jalen Hurts is the system. Jalen Hurts really is the guy. Listen, I don't blame you for supporting your quarterback, but to use words like generational, like let's draw it back a little bit, just a little bit. Jalen Hurts is a top 10, top 8 quarterback. Absolutely. But to get angry when someone says he's not top 3, doesn't have an elite arm, you're being unrealistic. You're missing the flaws in his game. And I still think if Philly has to rely on his arm throughout the playoffs, that gets concerning. What I do love about Jalen Hurts, what I do love about Jalen Hurts' last 2 games is the way that he's played to his strengths. And maybe this is on Patullo and Sirianni game planning and understanding who Jalen Hurts is. Finally, feels like we go through this cycle over and over again. They understand who he is. They play to his strengths. Then they go overboard. Then they rely heavily on his arm. And then we repeat the cycle. We're at this point now, these past few games, that they are leaning into his pros. The stuff that Jalen Hurts does really well at. He's best when he can feed off a steady run game. And he can hit his moment shot. And he can use his legs. He's a threat in the RPO game. And that's where he causes defenses the most trouble. But to sit back there like a pocket quarterback, it's not his game. Now, I know he threw, 32, 35 pass attempts this evening. That's great. He won the game. But more times than not, Philly isn't producing at a high rate when Jalen Hurts has to do that. That's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. It's just the athlete that he is, the quarterback that he is. You have to play to your quarterback strengths. And I feel like these last 2 weeks, they've done that. Now, whether that's because they've played trash teams who aren't sniffing the playoffs, or they're finally coming around on this offense, I don't know. But I feel like this game was really crucial to the success of this offense, to this team, to get back in rhythm. Find some confidence in what they're doing. So, I'd like to come out here and say, yes, Jalen Hurts has had a few phenomenal games. And I'm going to shout him out here. He's played really good, and I have no questions or concerns about him heading into the playoffs.